and will send you a diagnostic image through your dream life. And that's why great psychotherapists like Jung and others work with dream images, because it's the best way to heal somebody who's got a broken heart or depressed or whatever. So that's the other thing Apollo brings. Yeah, he was the god of philosophy. So, you know, what's not to love about Apollo? Now, somebody said to me, "Oh, yeah, but he wasn't really into peace, was he? He was the god of archery, and he was very much involved with the Trojan War on the side of the Trojans." Well, okay, so archery actually is quite a sacred thing. We humans have been doing archery since a long time ago, 12,000 BC. I think the first bows have been found. Archery is a skill, which is a spiritual skill. In Japan, it's a samurai's gift is to fire the arrow and get the right target. In the tradition where I come from, in the the woods of Sherwood Forest, Robin Hood's merry band are brilliant archers. What do they use it for? Is to establish justice and ultimately peace and plenty in the land. And so Apollo isn't in favour of stupid mass killings and slaughters and war a la Putin. He's in favour of using minimum force to achieve the goal of peace and wisdom. And so, he does have charge of certain aspects of the warrior within us all. And his sister, Artemis, his twin sister, again, she represents that amazing energy and strength in women. Women are not a pushover, they are strong. They were huntresses in their own right. And Artemis, or Diana, is an amazing deity. We should approach these deities with respect and learn as much as we can. Apollo is also very special here. In fact, we're in the room of Apollo in this museum dedicated to the 9 muses, because like Plato's Academy, we celebrate all the muses because they represent different types and qualities of learning. And Apollo is the conductor of the choir of the muses, who provide the music in the afterlife. Okay, newsflash, a little thing from the Adi Granth, again, the Sikh scripture, is that you're on the right path on the heaven journey, the heaven-bound journey, because you join the Sat Sangat, the fellowship of the seekers of truth. Now, the fellowship of the seekers of truth is because they stand for truth. That is their fundamental quality. And if you're lucky enough to be able to plug into that ultimate truth of the divine intelligence, it comes to you like an inner sound of beauty. So if I say to you, think of or try and hear the sound of absolute beauty, like imagine all of Mozart's work, all of Bach's, all of Beethoven's, all of the Grateful Dead, all of the great classics of all genres of music, all the ragas, sung as one note. Imagine you've got like divine ears, like Apollo, and you can hear all that at once. And you'd have a sophisticated enough hearing to be able to tune in and, that's the Grateful Dead, yeah. Oh, that's Bach's organ music. But actually it's all just one thing. That's what Sikh tradition calls the Shabd, which is the divine sound current, which pervades the entire universe. And every planet makes its own sound as it goes through the air. Now, science has confirmed this. Planets do actually make a sound. And each planet is slightly different. Like different singing bowls, some are deep, some are like higher. The Tibetans knew all about this as well. So that sound current, that shabd, is what in the Apollo tradition we call the music of the spheres. And it's interesting to see the Adi Granth sort of reflecting or putting into its own language the same concept. So Apollo is also in charge of the choir of the muses, hence the word music. And Apollo is therefore the god of music as well. And, you know, I'm a great lover of music, and I think most of us are if we have a heart. So what's not to love? Now, I think he stands to me, I mean, in the tarot pack, he stands for temperance, balance and moderation, because harmony or beauty is about balance between extremes. Ugliness is about, there's too much of something in the painting. There's too much of something in the music. There's that drum and it's horrible, it keeps coming in at the wrong time, you know. True music is when all the parts of the orchestra are balanced and playing beautifully. That's what beauty is. In aesthetics terms, I don't know if Kant said that, he was one of the founders of aesthetics, but he ought to have done. So temperance and beauty go together, balance and moderation. And this is what, you know, the Western philosophy, well, it's not Western, it's universal philosophical current from Apollo, because his ideas came from the ancient classical world. They inspired Islam, Jewish thinkers, Christian thinkers as well, and it's universal. So I think the message here is let's get back to beauty, and this would be the Delphic Games. And in fact, my daughter hopefully is going off to a meeting of the Delphic Games in Calcutta in the next couple of weeks, where there's a great Durga Puja happening in honour of the Calcutta deity Kali, who is you know, equatable to the Greek ancient goddesses. And every year in Calcutta they have this fantastic festival, Durga Puja, which lasts 10 days. And they have dancing and singing and music and, you know, all the Indian arts will be there. And my daughter, who's an artist herself and a musician, has been very honoured to be asked to go. And to represent my work as the educational coordinator for the Delphic Games. And here you see in the card, this is a picture of Delphi. Apollo is standing above that sort of, you know, in the mountain, above the Delphic theatre, which is dedicated. There is a temple of Apollo in Delphi, which is the centre of the world. I've been there. I mean, I can vouch it is actually the centre of the world. And it's not in the west or the east or the north or the south. It's a sacred place where all the currents meet and where beauty comes to earth. And it's where the oracle, I'd like to see the oracle at Delphi restarted. Part of my job as educational coordinator for the Delphic Games, I'd like to see the oracle back up and running, so that people can come on pilgrimage from all over the world and ask a question of the gods, specifically of Apollo. But getting that done right, and how would you train, and how would you know their genuine answers, and how would you estimate the quality of the oracle? You know, these are all questions that I'd like to engage in discussion with you about. By tradition, they were female priestesses, or pythonesses, or they were called, and because even before Apollo, this place was sacred to the python, which stood for the ancient snake gods of humanity. And the trouble was the snake was being a bit naughty and ravaging and killing and doing raping virgins type of thing the snakes do, and Apollo had to discipline it. And I see now that it's a combined effort. Also Gaia was involved in Delphi in the very beginning, so there's lots of profundity about this tradition of Apollo. The other thing about Delphi and the Delphic Games is that it uses water as its sacred symbol. The Olympic Games uses fire, but we in the Delphic movement use water because we're about cleansing and purifying, and water is about healing. And the word lysis in Greek, to solve a problem, means to make it watery, to break down, to solve the problem. And we need to solve the problems of the world with water. So that's Apollo. That's a great deity to get. Thank you so much for showing up. Now we have his best friend, Allah. Now you see, some people are trying to create a sort of eternal war between Allah, representing East and Islam and all that, and Apollo representing the West and rationality and science. And there's a whole sort of fake war in the AI world, artificial intelligence, what can you expect, of eternal war and enmity between Allah people and Apollo people. Well, I once had a dream. I don't know if I've shared this dream before, but it's a good dream. I'll share it. I talked about dreams earlier. I was in near Lyme Regis in Dorset, at a beautiful place I used to retreat to when I was head of philosophy at the Poole Grammar School in Dorset. And by the way, I'm going to be teaching a class in Poole in December, a weekend course if anyone wants to come, on mindfulness with a colleague and friend of mine. So I was teaching full time, and I used to go and retreat in this beautiful remote part of the coast of Dorset. And I had this dream that I was in a field, and I was watching, just beautiful trees and the rest of it. And I saw above me on a grassy bank, I saw this chap who looked like a superstar, it was like a movie star. I thought, that guy must be a really famous movie star. And he was surrounded by people who were clicking cameras and, like you would be if you were, I don't know who the most famous movie star is today, but like Hugh Grant was 10 years ago, so like him, really handsome. And he was wearing a beautiful, I saw as he came closer towards me, I thought at first his path was going diagonally away, and it was coming down a series of stepped banks, like a Dartington. If you've been to the garden at Dartington Hall, you know what I mean. But then I saw he was actually making a line, he was going to come directly towards me, with his whole entourage of 50 hangers-on, men and women. He was wearing a beautiful cheesecloth shirt that we used to wear in the 70s from India, like semi-transparent, embroidered with flowers and stuff, white, exquisite Indian-like design. And he looked the part, superstar. I was thinking, who is that guy? I ought to know who that is, and why is he coming towards me? Anyway, as he got closer, I thought, this isn't just a superstar and a movie star and a pop star. This is like his feet aren't touching the ground, and he's got a funny glow of golden light around him. This is like a god or something, So I got sort of, prepared to meet my god, and it was at that point it became like a lucid dream. It was like I was actually there about to meet this god, right? And he came right towards me, walking quite purposefully, and he poked with his index finger right in the centre of my chest. And he telepathically said to me quite a lot, didn't speak in normal words, but I knew what he was saying. He said, "Thomas, thank you for all the work you're doing for philosophy and peace and healing and all that. Keep it up, mate. And by the way, I want you to rebuild all the temples to Apollo. They're all there, ruined, but let's rebuild them and get them working as healing centres, places for dreaming, places for spiritual work. Do you mind? That's your job as well. Oh, and by the way, if people grumble and say, I'm at war with Allah, can you just point out and tell them that, no, Allah and Apollo come from the same root. It's just that the Allah people have dropped the P. Allah is Apollo without the P. And back in the ancient times of Paleolithic times, the people that became the Semitic tribes, worshipping El, Allah, Elohim, and all the other El words in Semitic languages, were the same as the people who were worshipping Apollo in the Lydian and Hittite and Anatolian culture, which then came into Greece. So actually, it's the same God. Now he's saying all this over about 10 seconds of touching me with his finger. And I suddenly thought, my scholarship kicked in at top speed, and I thought, that's possible because Allah is the God of the oracular, the prophets. Allah, in the sacred scripture, the Quran, as I've said in my commentary, underlines and supports every single prophetic initiation, transmission of all tribes of all history. Muhammad is like a really Apollo-friendly prophet. He says, all other prophets are great. I love them. Jesus, Muhammad, Abraham. I love them all. I'm just the latest one on the block. I'm supporting everything they've said. I'm the seal of the prophets, meaning I'm authenticating their lineage, and now there's this message coming through. So that's very Apollo-friendly. He's definitely for the oracle. And of course, Muhammad, bless him, didn't live long enough. We're now 1400 years later, and he wouldn't grumble and say, oh no, that Guru Nanak, he was a fraud. I'm the best prophet. No, Guru Nanak was, of course, in the prophetic lineage, as have been all the other great saints and sages since Muhammad's time, as, philosophically inclined Muslims understand. Why would one want to stop prophecy? Because it's our right to access divine intelligence. We all should cultivate the prophetic energy within us. And in fact, the biblical tradition says that at the end of time, or when things turn out for the best, everyone will have reactivated the prophetic intelligence within us. It's there in Joel, I think, and other prophets. The Bible is mainly made up of prophets. And Christ too would have said, let's have more prophets, not less. Let's not kill them. He really didn't like people killing prophets. Unfortunately, he was killed too. So Allah's on the side of all the prophets, so that makes him the oracle, the god of the oracle, like Apollo. He's also a healer. Allah is the deity that heals and in his form of El and Elohim, he is the healing deity of Semitic civilization. And I once had a very tragic, near fatal car crash outside Oxford, and I thought I was going to die. It was a bit of a miracle. And then I got taken to the John Radcliffe Hospital, and this lovely Islamic surgeon patched up my eye. I thought I'd be blind for life. Bless him, I don't know his name, but thank you so much. He saved my vision. And that's how I can talk to you and read and write. Because of one of the workers of Allah just happened to be working at the John Radcliffe in Oxford that day. There are many great medical doctors in the Islamic world, and in fact modern medicine, a lot of the surgical techniques, a lot of our knowledge about how the body works and all that came down through the medical schools of Islam, which were very, very advanced at a time when Europe had kind of lost the plot. We'd forgotten about, the wisdom of science, and we got a bit up, the Dark Ages, and we were roaming around killing each other. Whereas in Cordoba and in the Islamic world of Andalusia and in Egypt and so on, they were really amazing medical specialists. And they also translated many of the great works of classical Greek medicine, respecting Hippocrates and all the others. They've only come down through us because of the Arab transmission of science and medicine. So that's why I think Allah definitely is on the side of the healing God. Music, of course, yes. What do you do in the evening in the Islamic world? You listen to beautiful music. You dance. You smoke your hookah in the cafe of Cairo and watch the dancing. Music permeates the Islamic soul. And I've listened to music in Turkey with the Sufi dancers and so on. Sadly, some Muslims who haven't read the Tarot of the Gods, haven't heard my commentary on the Quran, don't understand that beauty is core to Islamic thought, and that includes music. And yes, discordant, horrible, let's go out and die and kill each other type music. No, that's not Islamic. But Islamic music is about beauty and encouraging love and fraternity and friendship and so on. So there's a lot of overlaps, is what I'm saying, between Apollo and Allah. So in this dream, I, that transmission of what I've described took literally a few seconds of sleep dream time. But it was a download, we call it now, of profundity. And if anyone wants to help me rebuild the temples of Apollo, I'm very happy to get a team of architects and land developers, and we'd have to kind of work out how we can do it. But I think it should be done myself. So I think we've just declared peace between the West, America, bless you, and really strict on being Western, and the East, which is, let's say, it's Iran, let's say, where I'm now a research fellow at the great university of religions and denominations. There's no reason for the Allah people and the Apollo people to hate each other. They're actually from the same family, as the Tarot of the Gods shows. And the true scholars and sages among them, on both sides of this divide, should be studying and researching each other's scriptures. I find it always a bit sad when people are very parochial, even great philosophers and intellectuals, they just study their own tradition. So you get great scholars that just read ancient Greek and just turn out papers on Plato and stuff, without ever reading the Quran and studying the incredible genius of Muhammad. And then you get Muslim scholars that just look at the Quran and just look at Muhammad's life and don't know anything about, ancient Greek thought or the Muses or anything like that, and just demonize the West. I stand for education replacing demonization, scholarship replacing, ignorance. And the word ignorance means literally to ignore. So ignorance is how it should be pronounced. So we should not ignore things. So there you are. Rush out and get your Tarot of the Gods, 2 volumes, and order your actual cards, which are uniquely hand-produced here in France. And I think all will be well on this planet. This is the gift of DI, packaged in such a way that HI can benefit. And, and then hopefully some of these AI tricksters will learn how to do their proper Hermes tricks in a way that upholds and heals humanity instead of causing anxiety and fear. I think we'll finish there. I won't do another one. Any questions or points you'd like to raise?
Let's see. Each time I'm just to get lost in listening, so I forget the questions.
Anyway, well, I hope if teaching can solve the world's problems, I think we're doing it week by week.
Super.
And let's hope that the message gets out there that there's divine unity. And just to end with the Adi Granth again, the beautiful Sikh scripture, that's what that whole thing is about unity. It's confirmation, if you want, of what I'm saying, from a whole different source. A guy called Guru Nanak, who lived long time ago, and never heard of what we're doing here, but it's the same spirit at work. Right, thank you so much, and have a fantastic week, and may you study philosophy and learn how it works.